Well, thanks for joining me. And we have our guest for the morning, Richard Asante-Yeboah, member of the MPP's communication team, Abraham Amaliba, also member of the NDC's legal team. And they're all both lawyers. Fresh one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you call him legal senior counsel?
This one is a big man.
Yeah,
I mean, beyond being a lawyer, he's an extremely big man.
Oh, no.
I mean,
I'm just getting some news from the wire that you've just been appointed to, is it GMPC board or?
I'm also hearing from the grapevine.
Oh, you're hearing it?
Yeah, I've not been informed, so let's wait to hear what will happen.
In the local parlance, we say, yeah, I say, yeah, TBB, sir. Okay, so we don't know whether this issue will go away or not go away. The Woyome issue, and we don't know whether we should discuss it or not. What do you say?
I think we ought to discuss it.
Okay.
The point is not about the name Woyome. It's about the fact that how we appropriate the scarce resources of the state and how people are made to walk away freely.
There you go. It's okay. Now,
taking such an amount for over 3-4 years.
Richard, relax.
Okay. No, it's fair deal. It's a matter of public interest.
Okay, so we'll discuss it. Just before today, we're told there have been a number of ministers who have had their positions changing. And Mahama Yariga has now gone to the Ministry of Environment. And in his place, we have Mustafa Ahmed, Dr. Mustafa Ahmed, and also some changes being reported in elsewhere, health, etc. What do you make of the new ministers who have been reshuffled, or those that have been brought to new places, so to speak?
Let me start by saying good morning to your viewers. Yeah.
Your constituency is which?
And Bolga Central constituency. I'm sure they are watching, so let me say good morning to them.
All constituents of Bolga Central, please.
What do you want to say?
I think by that extension, I would also use this.
No, when it comes to your turn.
When it comes to your turn, you do it. Now keep quiet.
So, you see, the power to appoint and disappoint lies with the president. These are people who have worked with the president for some time, and the president knows them personally. He does not tell us the reasons for which he does his reshuffling. But be as it may, we all know that it has become a feature of our governance system in this country, where once in a while you have presidents making changes to ministerial positions. But I just think that it is a way of also injecting into the governance system new ideas. You know, people who might have stayed in other areas, and you know, when water stays in a bottle for a long time, it becomes stale. So you need to reshuffle and have them beginning to understand that they have to give up their best. So these are ways by which the government would try to get people into areas that they can give up their best. So I know some of them personally. I know Mustafa, who is coming to the sports ministry. These are competent people. I don't doubt that they will deliver. And so for me, let's wait and see what those people bring on board. But I'm sure that it is a way of injecting new ideas into our governance system and ensuring that the government delivers.
Reshuffle.
I think I would like to also say good morning to your cherished viewers, more especially the good people of Brekum. And the Jine, that's my constituency, and also my family people are there, and also the membership of the Brekum West.
Who's the current member of parliament now?
We have two constituencies. So we have Dr. Niama and Honorable Ajini Boatin.
Okay.
They are the two members.
So one is MPP, one is NDC.
They are both MPP seats.
Both MPP.
I mean, we are doing.
They are safe seats. Are they safe seats?
No seat is safe. I tell you, in this country. If you mess up, you
because the way you kept mentioning Brekum is the Brekum West, so I thought they are safe seats.
I mean, seat will be safe if you work hard.
Okay, reshuffle.
I mean, on the reshuffle, I thought that it's just a musical chairs thing that was done by His Excellency the President. At the end, they're looking at the economic hardship that we are going through. I mean, the best thing to do is not actually to just move individual ministers around, however, to possibly reshuffle the president himself. Because looking at the economic conditions and the fact that we find ourselves in doing so for close to 3 years, the fact that, I mean, businesses are struggling when people are losing their jobs and all that. So from all that indication, it appears that we need that major reshuffling. But beyond that, let's look at the details of this actual reshuffling that took place in terms of what the presidency brought to us. Now we have been told that Honorable Mahama Yariga, the one who talked about the fact that you people do ask useless questions. I hope that where he's going to, when he's being interviewed, that he will not perceive that one to be as useless questions. He's been moved from the Ministry of Youth and Sports to that area. The point is, how long has this man been there? Was he there for a particular tournament because of the African Cup of Nations? Has he really rendered accountability that we were seeking for? Because we wanted him to be accountable in terms of what he did with the monies and what transpired in the African Cup of Nations. It appears that that was not forthcoming. Beyond that aspect, it appears that he has been a dent to the presidency over the period.
Who is saying that?
I'm saying that, and I'll give you a reason to buttress it.
That's your view.
Yeah, I'll give you reasons to buttress that. Remember when Honorable Ayaga was at the Ministry of Information, there was this one particular issue that he did not even consult his boss, the president, and he came in deceiving the people with those information. When this issue of Adi Solomon came up, quickly did this man come out. Oh, the president has no idea, has never met this man, he doesn't even know him from Adam. Then the president came in and said, you know what, don't say that. This man is my bosom friend. He even went through my book and helped prepare the book and the lunch.
That is then. What are you talking about?
Now, I'm giving you a series of the things that he's
now
done.
Let me say this. Him being moved from information, going right through to sports, and now to the environment. Doesn't it show his versatility?
No, I don't see that. I see, it appears that...
Because if the president thought he was incompetent, he would have dropped him altogether.
If the president has a lot of materials available, and you have people creating a lot of problems for him, such people ought to be...
Who determines what problem has been
we are the ordinary people. We are measuring whatever is happening. We see. They said the one who is leading the party does not know
you're a politician. You're not just an ordinary citizen, are you?
I mean, I'm an ordinary citizen. I'm a Ghanaian.
Okay.
You understand? And I tell you, like the news you are talking about, when you heard he has been sent to a board, you are not really surprised, are you? Because you know that what.
How would you know whether I'm not really
I mean, there are people you see that they've worked their way through. They are doing their things. They are not really getting confrontational with the media. They are not insulting Ghanaians. They are giving answers. I hope you're getting me. I'm not here to praise him. But at the end of the day, when you look at the lives of Ayariga, with the tractor, Ayariga tractor, with the Ayariga Atlas, there are several issues.
But you do understand that he's not the only one who has been shifted from one position.
Yeah, and I was going to go to other ones. For instance, look at the presidency. It appears that anybody who has this issue of, should I call it, dead goat syndrome, corruption attached to, is possibly withdrawn into the presidency.
What is dead goat syndrome?
I mean, the president will tell you, I mean, it's the state of mind when people practically do things that is untoward and create economic hardship, where there's doom so, there's constant problem.
When did the president, when the president said?
I mean, that's what I perceive to be the
you cannot give your own meaning to it. The man was specific on the matter.
So based on that.
All right, Richard. You know, let's speak to the issues and let's not make insinuations.
I hear you.
Okay, Richard.
So,
you're a lawyer.
You get to, and let me take a bite on that particular aspect too. I went through the University of London Law School system. Do you understand that? To be called into the Ghanaian, but I need to do the Ghana legal system, which I'm yet to do. So in terms of Ghana,
so you've not been called to the
Ghana. Yeah. Okay. So let me come back to the issue on this.
You've not been called to the bar in Ghana.
Yeah. So let me look at this issue. In terms of the presidency, recalling people who have corruption and other issues tented into the presidency. You know, when Honorable Free Ankara went to the Brazil with all the issues that surrounded his activities in Brazil, and the fact that he sat in front of the cameras and cried.
Can we bring this discussion to board? What are you
the issues of corruption was right at the face, and this person was pulled into the presidency. There are issues of Baba Kamara, who has issue in terms of the Mabel and Johnson issue. That has not been settled.
So your conclusion is?
So the issue is that you realize that the sort of changes the president is doing is not impacting on the lives of the people. You want changes that will bring real solution, not changes that seem to sort of benefit family and friends, like was articulated by Honorable Babin. What we are saying is that for us as a people, We want people who will come and deliver real deliverables. Those who give us solution to the many problems confronting us as a people. We are not looking at people who will be changed from one area to another when they are not really making any change, any impact. Tell me, can you pinpoint anything
for me, sir.
that
I can't let
like
you just...
Ayerga has done for this country in terms of all the ministries?
So that's your thoughts on the reshuffle. But we've had, for example, a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Ali Desaidu, says the president will be well off to let a lot more individuals that he appoints to ministries stay a little longer so that their impact will be felt.
Yeah,
for example, Mr. Yariga was just appointed after the World Cup, and then he's been reshuffled to another ministry.
I would defer to his comment if he was able to tell Ghanaians what he knows is the mind of the president when he appoints people. Don't forget that in the case of the Minister of Youth and Sports, we had an issue with the former minister and the Black Stars performance and acts at Brazil. So probably the president needed somebody to just go and stabilize things.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Okay.
You are not in the mind of the president. So he needed somebody who had what it takes to go and stabilize the place.
And now some things have been stabilized?
Now, nobody can say that the situation is not stabilized at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. At least, if for nothing at all, the performance of the Black Stars in the last ended African Cup of Nations tells you that some hope has returned into the Black Stars. So if that is what he was sent to do, and just to stabilize the place, he has done his part. He's now being moved to a place that the president thinks that he should now go and deliver. And so, yes, it is not proper to just be shuffling and then not allowing ministers to stay for long. But again, we can only say this within the context of the president's intention. We must first know the intention of the president. And I've given an example of Mahama Yarga, where, in my view, he has gone there. One success story we can tell is that the situation that we had in Brazil never reared its ugly hairs when we were in the African Cup of Nations. So that, for me, is kudos to him. Now, apart from the statement that he made, which is now an albatross around his neck, but which he thinks that he made that comment for us to begin to question journalists in terms of how they ask questions. Apart from that comment, what can anybody say Ayarga has done wrong at the Ministry of Youth and Sports? So I think that there are reasons for reshuffling, and so until we are able to find out from the mind of the president why he did what he did, it is not proper to condemn those movements.
At what point do we say a minister's comment or an appointee's comment that creates credibility crisis for a government in power, not necessarily the president, could be a justified reason for which that very appointee could be shuffled out of that very office into another capacity?
You are asking, your question is, do I think that the comments he made about the journalist could have contributed?
Okay, if that's how you want to phrase what I meant.
Could have contributed to his reshuffling. Once again, I wouldn't know what the president thinks. But this is a president who thinks that the media is an integral part of the governance system. And if the president also views those comments as you journalists view those comments as unacceptable, I'm sure it may factor in. But I'm not saying that that might have contributed. It depends on what the president sees those comments to be. The next thing is to say that, look, the Ayarga was talking about a particular journalist who asked a question. And so we shouldn't think that that comment was to use one brush to paint all journalists as not asking relevant questions. So again, if we see it as just interrogating a particular journalist's style of asking questions, then you see that it is an individual affair and not against the entire journalists in this country. I agree that he could have done better than what he has done. And let's be frank, Ayarga is one of the ministers whose posture on the media whose posture on platforms is not abrasive. He's not an aggressive.
Was not abrasive.
It's not.
Was not.
Or you think now it is?
Yeah. Oh, well,
so this particular incident should not take away his demeanor. He's one of the ministers who is cool-headed, but I agree that probably he could have said this better than what he did. And so let's not just think that he is one of those hot-headed ministers who would want to bring the image of the government into dispute. But I don't think that that might have contributed to his reshuffling. I think that he was sent there for a particular purpose, and I'm sure that he has executed it.
Frequent reshuffling of ministers, does it give any indication? And we also saw it in, especially towards the latter part of the Kufuor administration, various reshuffles that took place. Does it give an indication of some crisis situation? That perhaps the President, one, doesn't trust the people who are doing the work, and two, is now looking for people who can fill certain positions because of non-performance, etc.
I think, in all honesty, there are various reasons why people will be reshuffled from one ministry to the other, or some of them would even be dropped entirely from the president's team of appointees. One is likely to look at the issue of non-performance. If you realize that the person is not performing, because most often the presidents do not give reasons why they reshuffle or disappoint somebody from their team of ministers. It's performance. If the person is not performing, you are likely to be taken from that ministry to another ministry where you think you can perform. Sometimes like my brother Amaliba said, if the president feels like he needs some level of stability or some level of leadership in a particular area, and he sees that you have that clout to contain the situation at that material moment, you are likely to be taken to that place too. Another issue ought to do with the fact that sometimes the president are comfortable with certain individuals. Sometimes not because the person is doing anything extraordinary, but there are people, you give them opportunity, you realize that they will not disappoint you. Some will work hard, however, their public utterances will come and haunt the government. And we've seen it in this government. Do you understand that? There are a lot of people like that.
You said they are working hard, but
you see them working, but however, when you start questioning them, it becomes abrasive. Like this example that we are making about Ayariga. You see, my brother find it difficult even trying to even massage it, trying to sanitize the way manner he dealt with the individual, because you can't even say he was talking to an individual. That individual wasn't the point. He was talking to Ghanaians. And the person was asking
now
questions.
You return to the personality. I ask you whether you think that in the mind of anybody who is a president and would do changes and are cited, that is not the first time we're saying frequent reshuffle.
The point that the investor lecturer made. That
so don't always dwell on the personality.
Sometimes we try to overdo that. I tell you, institutional memory helps. Before somebody gets into a ministry, understand the system over there, finds the person footing, the next minute, the person reshuffled. It happened to, under this government, the fastest we had was, I think, a month or 2 weeks or something, with the regional minister. You remember? The letters came out, they've been sent to these regions. Before we could say Jack, some of them could even come for vetting, some had even finished their vetting. There was another reshuffling to other regions. So you realize that you could not really tell what exactly the president was doing, and after some time they were brought back to where they were to start their official work.
There's a reason for that.
So you sometimes, President Mahama, you want to read some of the tactics, because at the end of the day, even if a coach makes a change, a tactical change, and you see a result, goals are being scored, people are making some inroads in terms of their lives, people are having their standards of living being battered and all that, then you can say, okay, this was a tactical change. But at the end of the day, the more the president makes changes, the worse the situation becomes. So you cannot really see some of his antics and some of the schemes he put in place in terms of changing people and moving people around to actually to be a tactical one. That is where sometimes questions about some of the issues, Mr. Abambabin raised and all that comes into mind. Okay, what are the likely reasons why this person could be changed and this person wasn't there? Remember, at a certain point in time, even the NDC people, the whole NDC setup, even had problems with someone like the chief of staff, the one who was changed recently. They have issues with that person because they felt like the person wasn't a party person.
They told you?
It was said on air. NDC officials said that on air. Spoke. People had even issue with
Who?
it. And we can talk about the lives of our little Jacobs and all that.
These are their personal views.
But the NDC chairman,
It's a personal
regional
view.
chairman, central regional chairman of a party.
That's personal.
He's a member of the NDC.
And
He
even
says it's a personal view.
spoke against even the.
He's a member of the NDC. He says it's a personal view.
Called even the Setepe, the Minister of Finance, as Judas, that it ought to be changed.
But it's not. He says that it's not.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
The NDC party did not come out with a statement saying that this is the
So we have we have the
party.
releases announcing the reassignment of Collins Dauda to the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, and the moving of Health Minister Dr. Kweku Agyeman-Mensah to the Ministry of Works and Housing, Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. We also have the Minister of State at the President, Alhaji Dr. Mustafa. He is replacing Mahama Ayariga, and Mahama Ayariga will now move to the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. Alex Segbefia is now the Minister of Health, and the Headmaster of Tepa Senior High School, Peter Anefi Mensah, has been appointed as the new Ashanti Regional Minister. We don't have a deputy yet, though, but the MP for Draboso, Kwabena Minta Kando, is the new Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. He replaces Ebenezer Oklete Taelabi and Akwesi Opongfosu, who has been moved to the presidency as a Minister of State. And Opongfosu was a minister.
Let's take Collins Dauda, a very hard-working minister. Nobody...
He's hard-working.
Very hard-working. Nobody can disagree with that. In fact, you look at the way he's handled the Ministry of Works and Housing, the fact that he has even been able to...
But he has been moved to them.
Yes,
he hasn't been reshuffled in a long time, has he?
You notice the way he's handled the ministry, how areas that they don't have water now have water, and his on-site visits to areas that...
So it's for stabilization.
Now, no, I'm giving you another perspective. He's been moved to a ministry that, when the former chief of staff was there, had raised the bar in terms of also active performance. So you need either to maintain that same standard or better it. Who else can you bring? You bring somebody who has done it all at a certain sector to go and continue with the good work that...
I think that makes sense. But your explanation for the first is a bit different.
Which one?
The one for Ayariga.
There's no deficit. It's just to stabilize.
All right, I get your point.
It's just to stabilize the situation. And Ayariga has stabilized the Black Star area. The Black Star is now stabilized. We now have confidence in the Black Stars. The confidence in the Black Star was at the lowest ebb. You need a minister, but the matters that affected the Black Stars were not coaching problems. The matter that affected were managerial.
But you do understand the sports ministry is not only about football. We have even the lesser known sports, and then even a wing for youth. Youth development.
You can't do it all. So the point is that Machi has, hasn't it? Machi.
My older brother is making good comments. Be careful. Anyway, so now.